Welcome back to another wonderfully weird Monday morning. I'll give you the time that it takes for the music to play. Yes.
To plays.
I'll give you the time that it takes for the music to play to guess why it's weird today.
Well, hello, people who have refused to give themselves a groupie name. How are you doing?
I actually have seen a couple.
Okay.
Someone said something about like if you're scientists or if you like science but with the C from the last episode, then we are your lab rats.
Oh.
I kind of like that one actually.
I'm cool with it.
Someone DM'd us and said chaos connoisseurs.
Love that one.
Also a good one. Oh,
the Colossosauruses.
Maisie. Oh my goodness. Oh, she just walked through the tangle of wires and I did not think she was going to make it out without pulling something down with her, but she made it.
Well, I guess this is a good time to point out we are in a completely new setting at the current moment.
That's why it's weird.
If you're listening to this, feel free to check out the episode on YouTube for like the first 2 minutes, and then you'll be able to see where we are today. We've had a bit of an AC issue at our home.
Oh, understatement of the century.
Yikes. And with where we are at, no AC in the summertime is not fun.
So bad.
So we decided to be adults about it and go get an Airbnb for a few days.
We decided to be adults about it and just leave and ignore the issue.
Just completely ignore the problem altogether. Just say, fine, we don't need you. We'll go somewhere else.
That's exactly what we did. Maisie. Okay, good.
So,
she got a toy.
We made ourselves feel better about this by claiming it's just for the dogs.
Yeah.
They can get heat stroke. It's not a pretty picture.
They were refusing to eat.
But in reality, we really were just terribly uncomfortable, and
that's Maisie.
Maisie loves it. Well, I guess this could be something you can apologize for next week, but I have to do some 8-second apologies this week. So let's just jump right into it. I would first like to apologize for Rachel taking me and you through a very meta and brain-warping topic at 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. respectively. I would also like to apologize for the lack of closure in the episode and for the incessant dog noises in the background. So
I think those are all good things. Because guess what?
Oh.
Guess what? I am, as my mug says right here, Mrs. Always Right.
I was given the opportunity to have Mr. Always Right, but
no, it didn't say Mr. Always Right. It said it was like a his and hers mug set, and it said Mr. Right, like the classic Mr. Right, and Mrs. Always Right.
So I could have been Mr. Right, but instead I went with the first ladies of the United States of America with my G, Rosalind Carter. Jimmy, your wife is a beaut.
Somebody come get her.
No, do not disrespect Rosalind with that song reference. Excuse me. And so I will be holding my mug this way and trying to figure out how to drink left-handed solely so I can make sure you see Rosalind Carter's face. Any other news to catch him up on? Are we good?
Wait.
It's the final countdown, Rachel.
I always feel like there's got to be something.
Well, I have something.
Oh, okay.
My episode.
I was going to ask, is it a story?
Oh, it's a story. It's actually 3 stories. It's not going to be long. Nobody panic.
Well, maybe I do have something.
Okay, then go. So, if nothing else, I'm going to start.
I was just going to say, tell your friends about us because we're awesome and we want...
Oh, well...
We want more of an army, you know.
That's a given.
We want more people who follow us blindly and love us. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to humble Rachel.
No, we're not.
She had a humbling moment this morning when she forgot a certain piece of equipment that I had to then go drive and pick up.
I offered to go back and get it.
It was the right thing to do because her puppy can't be left alone. She just freaks out, which is fine. So So anyways, here we go.
Cheers.
So to be honest, wait.
Oh. I'm in such an odd position here. I got one leg on the floor.
I was just gonna cheers you.
Yeah, I had to get in a position to cheers.
Okay.
Cheers. You have to look. Oh, you almost didn't look me in the eyes. I was gonna be like, bro, it's bad
I had
luck.
to make sure Rosalind was facing. So, to be honest, this idea came to me when I was at the, I guess it was the outlet mall. It's a specific way to describe it. And I was looking at some stores and I was like, where did these guys, like, where did they come up with their names? And so I decided I'm going to start doing a deep dive onto like brand names, right?
Okay.
But then it quickly became less about the brand name and more about family feuds.
Oh, okay.
So today we're going to be talking about like 3 different, I guess, stories of family feuds.
Love it.
And I think it's going to be fun. They're shorter stories. Some of them involve a little more legend, a little more hearsay, but I guess that's part of it. Like, think Romeo and Juliet. Do we actually know what started the feud? No. So we'll see.
I've never read Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, no way.
I've read a lot of other Shakespeare, but I've never read.
I'm actually I have a lot of respect for you that you haven't just read Romeo and Juliet.
I plan on never reading it.
Oh, well, that maybe not.
Well, that's just based on principle, because it's like the one thing everyone knows.
Anyway,
It's a joke.
Our first feud, we are going to be talking about Adidas or Adidas.
Adi Dassler?
Adi Dassler.
Yeah.
And Puma.
Okay.
You know
I'm
Puma?
sorry. Yeah, yes, I know Puma. I'm just a little distracted because in an attempt to get my dog to stop making so much noise, I just kind of like tried to get her to settle by my feet, but now she's chewing on my foot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We've also determined that Maisie has a foot fetish.
She does.
So, both of these brands, so Adidas and Puma, they are actually, the founders of these brands are brothers.
Really?
I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
So,
did you know that?
I didn't until I started my deep dive. And I was like, what? So, they had a just ridiculous fight that ended up splitting up their brands and turning into rival athletic shoe companies.
So it was one brand to begin with, and then they split.
So we're gonna tell the story. I'm gonna channel Steve Harvey for this.
Brothers.
And we're gonna get this going. Okay.
I expect a mustache and a deep voice.
I was gonna try a deep voice, but we're not gonna do it.
And too many sexual innuendos that you then pretend you didn't expect.
That would cost me some serious money in the jar. So, Adolf Adi Dassler is his name. He is the founder of Adidas, and he's from Bavaria in Germany, right? So his first company with his brother Rudolf was named Gebrüder Dassler Schuhfabrik. I think I pronounced that pretty okay.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yeah. But
yeah?
Un little. No, okay, this is really embarrassing. I did take a full year of college level German.
What?
Yeah. And I was good at it, but it's gone.
I've never taken a single French. That too. I've never taken a single German class in my life.
I loved it. I loved learning German. But I feel like part of the problem with any of those languages is like I could read it. Like if you handed me something in German, I could read it easily. I could read it, but to try and speak it, if you aren't practicing it every day, good luck.
Yep.
So
Spanish is
to my German professor Spanish out there, don't hate me. I tried. Gebrüder is right. Dassler. Schuhfabrik. Anyways,
that sounds like a French accent.
The brothers Dassler Shoe Company.
Okay.
Essentially is what we're translating this into. This was 1924. So Adi was an athlete in his youth.
Adi? I thought it was Adi.
I'm going to pronounce it.
Okay, Adi just makes me think of the American Girl doll. Sorry.
Okay, Adi. We're going to change our enunciation of the A a little bit here. Adi was an athlete in his youth, soccer player, runner, and he actually invented his first shoe in 1920. It was like a spiked track and field running shoe.
Good for him.
And so then in 1924, teams up with his brother Rudolph. They're like, let's make a company. They call it Geta for short. So,
hi, Maisie.
Maisie's here.
She almost just destroyed everything. Hi, baby. If you want to settle down right there, that'd be perfect. Okay. Oh, good girl.
So maybe she'll take a nap.
That'd be great.
Wow. All right. So the story of like Adidas's reputation, like they kind of get their start in the Olympics. So, but their first brand, Geta, they start getting some success in the 1928 Amsterdam Olympics.
Okay.
A runner named Linda Radke won gold wearing Geta shoes. And then in 1936, Jesse Owens at the Berlin Olympics is wearing Geta shoes. And this is the first time that they start branching out into more international, selling to different countries. But then the Second World War comes. The Dassler brothers were members of the Nazi Party and used,
unfortunate.
They gave shoes to like the Hitler Youth.
Little sus. Dark turn.
Like very dark turn. I don't know how avid of Nazis they were, but either way, you're still a Nazi. So anyways, that happens. Yeah. So then Rudolph during the Second World War is actually drafted and goes to fight for the Germans. Adi stays home and kind of runs the factories and stuff that, of course, like any total war nation, they're using to churn out military stuff. I mean,
right.
So
which actually, that might be a good point. Like, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but were they like voluntarily giving these things to?
I don't know the answer.
The Nazis, or were they told like they had to use their factory for that?
I don't know. I think I would probably just say it might be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the Adidas.com is not. Obviously, Adidas.com is not going to tell me if they have their whole backstory, but they just kind of gloss over the Second World War.
She's sniffing the mic.
Of course.
You want to say hi?
All right.
No, she's
of course
shy.
She doesn't. So 1948. So after World War II, Rudolph comes home. They're kind of like reassessing, trying to like figure out life again, as a lot of people are. And there's a family feud. Rudolph and Adi hate each other all of a sudden. And
Why?
We don't actually know. And this is the part to me that's like very Romeo and Juliet-esque. There's some theories on what's happening here.
Let's hear 'em.
One is that Adi actually like tried to turn in his brother to the US and like sell them information and like get him whatever, I don't know what the word is I'm trying to use here, like turn his brother in for being a Nazi in like exchange for something. I don't know. So there's one theory.
Like double cross him.
Double cross and betrayal. The other one, it has to just do with a woman. Like, I guess there was a feud over this woman, and it's kind of like rumored about like maybe one slept with her, one didn't. I don't know. Who knows? But it's kind of like what we do know is that this was it. Like whatever it was, they never really spoke again. And not only did it divide the company Geta into like Adidas and Puma, but it also literally divided their hometown between two separate parts of the main river that flowed through it.
Huh. So that's kind of wild.
So in 1948, around that time, like you get the foundation of Adidas and Puma. And so the town they're from, I'm going to butcher it. Herzogenaurach. That's not right. Herzogenaurach. It's like got the CH at the end. I can't do it right now.
It's very throaty.
There's a river. I don't know the name of the river. It's probably something.
But there's a river.
Pronounce. There's a river, and literally Adidas was in the northern part, and Puma was in the southern part. And like people in the town would like it was literally almost like or like West Side Story, which I guess is Romeo and Juliet, like Sharks versus the Jets. Like if you were Adidas, like don't come near a Puma guy. And playing soccer growing up, I always knew there was this like feud between Puma and Adidas.
Right.
No idea why. And now I do.
There we go.
And so, eventually their headquarters move, and they're not quite as like divided, but they still don't like each other. And it's still like, I read in that town, it's still very much like, are you a Puma or Adidas?
Not even like the region?
No. Like the town.
It's not, but it's not even like, are you north or south? It's like,
no, it's
Puma or Adidas.
Yeah.
Good.
It's
Great. Love that.
So again, it started off with just being like, where did the name Adidas come from? And then it was like it's like one of the most famous feuds in history. And so then of course I was like, okay, well naturally I'm going to go find out what are other famous feuds. So yeah, so I was like, okay, naturally, being that we do deep dives, I'm going to dive deeper and learn what are the other feuds that are famous in history. Oh,
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I have something important.
Please.
An important question for the Magic 8 Ball here.
Oh.
There we go. Will Maddie and I ever have a historical or just an important, a big, dramatic feud?
I'm terrified of the answer.
What's it say, Maisie? I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, so stay tuned.
It said yes, definitely.
Yikes. Okay. Well, hopefully we won't be as divisive as Adidas and Puma.
Hopefully it doesn't have anything to do with Nazi Germany.
God, no. Yikes. So, are you ready for...
I'm ready. Oh, I am
Family
ready.
Feud number 2.
I'm ready.
Okay, this one's called The Black Dinner.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Game of Thrones?
No.
Okay. If anyone watched Game of Thrones, there is an episode, and I didn't write down the name of this episode, but there's like a pretty intense, like crazy dinner scene that's actually inspired by this event that I'm about to tell you. So if you're a Game of Thrones fan, this is the inspiration. And honestly, I don't think there was a single article I read that didn't start off with, if you like Game of Thrones. So I don't think many people knew about this until the episode. So I guess the director also, like, he admitted, he was like, this is what it's inspired off of. So here we go. So we're in Scotland in the 1400s. Scotland is no stranger to family feuds and conflicts. I don't know if you knew that. Clan conflicts in Scotland and in Scottish history is pretty typical. So
Clan with a C.
Clan with a C. Clan conflict with a C.
That's an important distinction.
Yeah, there are many examples of family feuds in Scotland, to be honest. But this one is a conflict between the Stuarts, not to be confused with the Stuart family in England that comes in the 1500s. Okay. They're ancestors, but different for our purposes. And the Douglases. Okay, so Stu versus Doug.
Stu.
And there's other noble families involved at the time, too. So James II is the part of the Stuart ruling family. He's 6 years old when it comes to power in 1437.
Good for him, a little king.
Right. So, of course, he has a regent. Like we learned in the episode with Olga, a regent, for those, in case we need a definition again. Somebody that's set and given power to rule on behalf of someone who's not yet at the ruling age.
A placeholder.
I.e. a 6-year-old.
A placeholder, yes. So. For the interim.
Right. So James's father was actually murdered. So you already know that the story's going to be chaotic when we're starting with that kind of ascension to the throne.
And you just know it's going to be chaotic when it's on here.
Well, true. Stay chaotic.
With the hyper-focus babes.
So James's first regent was actually a member of the Douglas family.
Wait. But he was a Stuart?
Correct.
But so they're not feuding yet?
Not yet.
This is the lead up.
No,
okay.
It's kind of one of those situations where like they like love but hate each other. Like they're frenemies right now because the Stuarts are the rulers, but the Douglases are like, we want that power. Like, give it to me, So it's kind of like,
I want it. Give it to me.
It's like
What is that from?
I don't know. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
No, it's from Parks and Rec. It's when Paul Rudd is wanting the election. Give it to me. Give me it. Give me it. I'm sorry. Please.
His character on that show is
so good.
amazing.
So good.
So yeah, something like that. Sure. So, so it's kind of like there's this little like tension swirling of like, okay, the Douglas is the regent, but the Stuart's the king. So like the Douglases are certainly exerting a level of power and are pretty much using the time as regent to solidify their control.
Yep.
So, this first regent dies. And so instead of getting just a single new regent, they decide, let's get 3.
Oh.
And share. So that way maybe we can limit the Douglas's power.
Oh, okay. So only one of them will be a Douglas.
Exactly. So we've got, I'll give you the names. William Crichton? Yeah, Crichton. Sir Alexander Livingston and James Douglas. Now,
they all sound just so typical.
Yeah. One thing that I learned after research is that the Douglas family has like 2 branches. So there's the Black Douglases and the Red Douglases.
Okay.
The Black Douglases, from my understanding, are the bad guys, or quote bad guys. They're like the ones versus the Stuarts.
Okay.
The Red Douglases are James Douglas's family. So this regent.
So they're just kind of like there.
So at this point, we don't have any of the bad guy Douglas family as a regent.
They're Jay chillin'.
Yeah, they're just Jay chillin'. They're out here
and
surviving.
they kind of want the power, but they're like, whatever, it's not ours.
They're like, as long as I'm noble, it's fine.
Okay.
So we're here, right? So we have James II is a Stuart. His first regent is one of the Black Douglases. Then Black Douglas guy dies.
Yeah.
This sounds borderline strange, but whatever. Then after the first regent, who is a Black Douglas, dies, we get 3 new regents to try and share power.
Yep, I'm with you.
One of them is the Red Douglas.
Oh.
Okay.
Thanks.
So in 1440, this is basically their first
it's a great year
as a regent.
That's a great year.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. It
Okay.
just sounds like a good year.
Okay. James still can't rule, but his regents are warning him, like, okay, the Black Douglas family is getting really powerful. We need to do something about it. Put our foot down. So the regents invite 2 leaders of the Black Douglas clan, William and his younger brother. He remains unnamed.
Okay.
I did lots of research, could not find his name. So
Love it. Younger brother.
William and younger brother come to Edinburgh Castle to meet with the king, King James. But they have no idea that it's not going to end well for them.
Oh.
So at dinner, a black bull head is placed on the table, which is a symbol for death.
Oh.
And so at that point they realize, well, crap.
So it's just like really dramatic, like someone just brings in this bullhead and sits it on the table during dinner.
Like a cinematic masterpiece, like dramatically placing the severed bull's head on the table, and
I love it.
and then like William and his brother are just like, yikes. So the regents take the 2 boys, hold a mock trial for them, where they declare them as traitors to the crown. And to be honest, it's yeah.
How old are these children?
Like 16 and 14.
And they hold a mock trial for them. So they don't even give them a real trial. They just give them a mock trial. Maisie, what are you doing? So they basically are just like torturing them for fun through this mock trial.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're going to kill them. Oh,
so
what got your attention?
To be honest, it's unclear if James II like really knew what was going on, or we just don't know the level of his involvement. It's because he wasn't really in charge, so we can't necessarily blame James yet. Okay. Yep. Once they're declared traitors, they are hung, and
oh my goodness,
they have been murdered by the regents.
And what was the basis for declaring them traitors? Just that they wanted the power?
They've been accumulating too much power. They're a threat to the crown, so i.e. they're traitors. Ooh. The Douglases decide to attack Edinburgh Castle. And they were fighting. It actually was probably they were fighting up until 1455. So they probably started attacking, and they were kind of in this prolonged battle, tiff, for 15 years. And at this climactic battle, the Black Douglas family was finally fully defeated, and the Stuarts claimed the Scottish throne, and all of that drama is kind of done. And they become the parent house of the House of Stuart.
Okay.
Which is like Mary Stuart, all the other, Stuart family in like the 1500s. So if you're not that particular about English history,
I don't know any of these people.
It's fine.
I'm just
Mary
acting
Queen
like
of Scots.
That's yeah.
Yeah, that's Mary Stuart.
Okay, I don't even know that much about her, but
it's fine. It's like the family of Henry
I know
VIII.
enough to know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of the famous people that we learn about in like medieval history or European history in like the 1500s.
Some of us didn't take European history classes.
Anyways, I know I'm confusing words anyways too, so nobody obliterate me right now in the comments.
Obliterate her in the comments.
But yeah, it's like they literally just changed the spelling. So it's technically the same family, but it's also technically not.
Love it.
And as a historian, I must tell you that. They just did a quick little rebrand. So that's Family Feud number 2.
Love it.
So Family Feud number 3 is not a family feud, but I read it and could not talk about it.
That sentence. Family Feud number 3 is not a family feud.
Correct.
Thank you, Maddie.
It's just a feud. But it seems as though the feud is between two like brothers from another mother's. So
okay,
take it or leave it. Do you like dinosaurs?
Hate them.
Do you like fossils?
Hate them.
Do you like paleontologists?
Hate them.
Well, then this is going to suck for you because we're talking about the Bone Wars.
I'm just kidding. I love them all, and I'm really excited about what the Bone Wars are.
So everyone channel your inner Ross Geller.
No. Okay, well, hate them.
Wait, yeah, that one maybe. So
I have recently somehow, like, every once in a while, I'll just be on paleontology TikTok, and I don't know how I got there. And I always try to stay, but it always eludes me. But then every once in a while it'll come back, and it's one of my favorite places to be on TikTok.
Maybe if we give a whole episode or a third of an episode to it, maybe we'll stay on it.
Make a TikTok about paleontology.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So in the 1800s, that's kind of where like researching fossils like begins in like the mid 1800s anyways.
Oh, I have a fun fact for you.
Yeah, tell me.
So George Washington never knew that dinosaurs existed.
That's weird.
Because dinosaur fossils were not found until after he died.
Yeah. Because they didn't start really finding them until the 1800s.
Yeah, so George Washington never knew about dinosaurs.
That's weird.
We
are truly blessed and privileged to have the amount of information that we have.
Oh, Maisie, if you jump, you're going to take all the wires with you, and everything's going to come crashing down. I need you to just lay here for like 15 more minutes. Okay, good girl.
Okay. So in the 1800s, we're talking about two of like the premier paleontologists of the world, Edward Drinker Cope and Othniel Charles Marsh.
How do you spell Othniel? Like Othneal? Niel.
The two met in Germany in 1863. They were trying to escape the Civil War in America, which I don't blame you. And they became close friends.
Oh.
Just the best of buds. But the friendship didn't last long.
Oh, no. I was just about to say, less buddy cop shows, more buddy paleontologist shows. Yeah. But this doesn't sound like it's going to work out well.
No, it's not. Actually, about 5 years later, Cope describes an incident as the beginning of the end of the friendship. So about 5 years.
Wow.
Somewhat solid.
I love that he like describes this or like keeps a record of it.
Yeah, they hate each other.
Wow.
Like not friends. So Cope and Marsh are like doing all this kinds of paleontology research. They're working with different quarries and enterprises to help to try and dig up fossils and all over the world. There was a New Jersey quarry that Cope had been working in. Marsh made a little backdoor deal with the quarry and said that basically said any and all fossils found there had to go to Marsh, even though Cope was actively searching in the area for fossils. So basically everything Cope found went to Marsh.
How did Marsh pull that off?
He's a schemer.
Okay.
Cope's one of those, he's like, so this is out, it'll make
Maisie,
more,
stop it.
It'll make more sense in the end, but Marsh is kind of the one who's like, he'll do whatever it takes to be on top. So bribery deals, backdoor, whatever. Cope is one of those that's like, he wants to get there on his own merit, but because he's trying to move so quickly and like rise to the top so quickly, he's full of errors and like super inconsistent, and like a lot of times his research has so many holes, and then he just ends up kind of looking like a fool. So yeah, so here we go. So that's problem number one, is that Marsh is basically taking all of Cope's fossils.
Yep.
And he's not happy.
I love this because that just sounds like a kindergarten feud.
It's like the sandbox or something. Like,
He took my fossils.
he took my fossil and it's a stick. Teacher's like, I don't care. So Cope in that same year, so 1868, decides, well, screw you, Marsh. I'm going to publish my research on what is called the Elasmosaurus platypus. Platypus. It's not platypus, but we're going to call it platypus. But there were major yikes in his fossil. Okay, let's just put it that way.
I'm a little lost on the sentence. There were major yikes in his fossil.
In his fossil, like that he built. Like he pieced the fossil together to present it.
So, okay.
And there were major yikes. The vertebrae was backwards. So the head was actually
like
at the tail part, and the tail was at where the head was supposed to be.
Love.
So the vertebrae was completely switched, and Marsh actually was like, hey, buddy, you did this wrong. So, of course, he's just triggered, because, like, that's, like, the worst thing ever, is when not only do you screwed up, but then, like, the enemy of your entire existence also points out to you that you screwed up. So, Cope is
just let him have his Frankensaur. Like,
right.
Honestly.
Well, not in the 1860s and 70s. They were all trying to get ahead, I guess. Seems like nothing changes.
Guess we have to be accurate in the scientific community.
Grr. Ugh. So, and then there's like, they bring in an expert who like confirms that it's backwards, and then they like publicly embarrass him and like put out a public like letter of like paleontologist Cope totally screwed up. And he's just like, why? So, from here on out, they basically go on like a fossil race, like think space race, Americans, Soviets, 1950s, but like with dinosaur bones.
Love it. I'm so in.
They're
I'm
like
so in.
They're just like traveling the world, like digging up bones, and they're like, I got you first.
I'm so in.
So again, Marsh kind of uses spies, bribery, really just being a pain in the fossilized tushy to get on top. But Cope is just continually plagued with like incomplete data, like inconsistencies, just...
So kind of what I'm like seeing here, correct me if I'm wrong, but Cope is like messing up, right? But he's working his hardest.
Right.
And then Marsh is just kind of coming in and being like, actually, you're wrong.
Work
and
smarter, not harder.
But Marsh doesn't really seem to be doing much other than telling Cope he's wrong, and he's still kind of getting ahead and looking like
he's looking for fossils, and like, but I think the way he's doing it, I almost imagine Cope is like the one getting his hands dirty, and Marsh is like paying somebody to do.
Marsh is just sitting there with his white gloves like, wrong.
Yeah.
And he's coming out on top because of it.
He's like the white collar, and Cope is the blue collar in this situation. Exactly. But I don't know, maybe it wasn't, but that's what we know at least. So, I mean, because they were both wealthy-ish. Until Cope doesn't really make that much money. He actually falls out of the spotlight for a while because he's just not doing a great job, you know?
Poor guy.
And really loses like all of his money and success. He ends up like having to live alone. Like he separates from his family is what I read.
Aww.
And just decides rather than try and be self-reflective and go live a peaceful life, he's going for revenge.
Yes.
This is my second revenge story in a row, but hey, I'd be like that sometimes.
I love a good revenge story.
So in 1890, he starts his revenge plot against Marsh, and Marsh is like hugely successful. He's actually he becomes the chief paleontologist of the U.S. Geological Survey that had just been created in that time frame. So you know, he's kind of a big dude, you know. So actually, Cope had spent most of his time basically collecting evidence against all of Marsh's, like, bribery, spying,
Really?
corruption, and, like, documented all of it and went public with it. And got to the point of, like, the Congress decided to completely cut the geological survey. Marsh was fired. Like, they accused him of corruption and misuse of public funds.
Good for Cope.
And then the Smithsonian said, Marsh, you have to give us your private collection because... And, like, they took his collection. Because a lot of it had been accumulated with government funds.
Got him.
So Cope probably, I guess, quote, ends up on top.
Yeah.
But not really, because he also has no money and not a great reputation. So once Marsh loses that title...
But I think it sounds like Cope was not so much concerned about
he wasn't
making his own reputation as much as he was destroying Marsh's.
Yeah. No, it was much more about getting back. So Cope ends up dying at 56. His collection is dispersed mostly to the American Museum, or the American Museum of Natural History. Mm-hmm. And then Marsh dies. One article says he has $186 in his bank account. That's it. Now, granted, different time means 1800s, but still
1800s. Yeah,
$186.
That's
when you were
way
at
more.
The top, and now you're down to 186.
That's
which again is still a lot of money for the
probably a couple $1,000,
90s,
but
1897. The feud had really pretty much tired everybody out. They were like, okay, this sucks.
Yeah,
you guys are kind of the worst. But nonetheless, like, these two guys are pretty, I mean, they are what solidified a lot of our prehistoric fossils collection. And I mean, while they might not have been the first, and there's certainly other paleontologists that are important, they were hugely important for paleontology.
I love when we get knowledge out of, like, spite.
Yeah.
And fights and feuds and things like that. It happens all the time because, like, you just, like, it's just such a good motive. This is not something I should be promoting, but it's, like, such a good motivator for people to continue, like, exploring and researching stuff. And I just adore stories like that.
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
They're both just trying to compete to have the best fossil collection. And because of that,
sorry. I know that's a serious study and serious research, and I respect it, but, like, just those sentences make me laugh.
I know. But because of that, we had so many fossils and so much data to do research and study prehistoric life and dinosaurs and extinct animals and fishes and things and rocks.
Love it.
So,
fishes and rocks.
Family Feud number 3, and that concludes my episode of Family Feud. Thanks for joining and playing. What do they say at the end of that game? Is there, like, a catchphrase or something?
Good answer. Good answer.
Oh. Yeah, that's it. That's good.
That scared the dogs
that's
so
right.
much.
Good answer.
I'm
good
sorry.
Answer.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry, babies.
So, was this the best episode of HYPERFOCUS ever?
Put it right here in the middle so I can verify.
It is definitely so.
It said it is decidedly so, but I
also
disagree.
Should we do more Family Feud episodes?
Don't count on it.
Yikes.
I was just about to say we've only gotten positive answers. Is that like a 8-ball of positivity?
I don't know, but I guess not.
Is Rachel Mrs. Always Right? If it says no, I'm so mad. Can you read that? Oh, there it goes. Does it say outlook or outcome? I think it says outlook good.
Outlook good.
Outlook good.
Is Rosalind
Cheers
Carter
from
the
Mrs.
greatest first lady to ever exist?
Cheers from Mrs. Always Right.
Without a doubt. Rosalind, a gem.
Only until I become first lady, though.
That's fair.
I could become president, but I don't feel like it. It's like too much work.
Yeah, well, there goes your campaign. You'll never be able to get it now. So anyways, guys.
I don't know. I feel like if Gen Z is electing.
True. Who knows?
They love that.
All bets are off. Well, that's what I have for you today, Rachel.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I didn't.
We talked about, for those of you who missed it, we talked about shoes.
For those of you who got to the end of the
bullheads,
podcast but didn't listen to the podcast.
shoes, bullheads,
Yeah.
and fossils.
Mm-hmm.
Fossils. Dun, dun, dun.
What?
It's from Phineas and Ferb. You never watched it. If anyone watched Phineas and Ferb, I hope we just shared that moment together because that was special for me.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, do we have anything else to say?
I do have something to say.
Okay, say it.
You neglected to put a song reference in this episode.
I said the final countdown at the beginning. I said it's the final countdown, Rachel.
That was your song reference?
Do you not know the final countdown?
I do, but I thought you were just saying, like,
No.
let's get going.
No, I did that intentionally. That's the point of a song reference.
What was
Is
it
you find it in-
referencing?
You were talking about, like, you were thinking of something, and I was like, Rachel, it's the final countdown.
Well, yeah, so what was that referencing?
Before we were going to start our episode.
It counting down to what?
Starting the episode.
So it was you just saying, let's get going.
Well, yeah, but I was using it. I'm using the song reference as the message.
It didn't reference your episode at all. I didn't even think that was a part of the episode. I thought you were just telling me to get moving. You
But
decide.
It's still a song reference.
Listeners, you decide.
They're not always me actually singing.
They don't have to be you singing, but they have to apply to your episode.
It did.
How?
It's we were talking and it was a final countdown until I was going to start telling my story. So it is the final countdown before I start telling you my story.
I don't know. We'll let the listeners decide. Was that an episode reference? A song reference about her episode? I don't know.
Anyways, we'll have to see. So
Yeah.
leave us your thoughts then on our social medias and wherever you can find us. So Instagram and TikTok,
HYPERFOCUS pod,
Twitter,
HYPERFOCUS_pod,
and YouTube and Facebook.
HYPERFOCUS, a podcast for chaotic minds.
And then you can also email us.
HYPERFOCUScast@gmail.com.
So let us know if you think that counts as a song reference.
Send us a carrier pigeon.
Yep.
If you can get a carrier pigeon to us, there'll be big things in store for you.
I may buy you
Free merch.
something.
We also don't have merch, but we'll give you free merch.
Oh yeah, if you have any merch ideas, we're thinking about.
We're starting
we have a
to
few
think about
options.
it. Something with big C, little c science.
And Aristotle.
We can't say that on
I
the
didn't,
podcast.
but-
We'll have to put the E on
We are
there.
very interested in Aristotle.
I made a joke that Maddie was, how do I say this?
I felt some kind of way
Physically excited.
by Aristotle.
What if I just said physically excited?
I think that makes it so much better.
Just a shirt that says, like, I'm physically excited by Aristotle.
I love it. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Because she is.
Because I am. I love him. There has to be at least one conversation a day where I say, and this is why Aristotle's right.
Literally. Every day. Every day.
I'm a
I want to
genius.
beat her over the head.
It's just because you can't
with a work by Aristotle.
you can't out argue it because it's just right. Anyways, before I get on a rant, this has been fun. We will see you on our next episode. We may be somewhere else again, depending on our AC situation,
I
but we
hope
will
not.
keep you posted.
It's been words. It has been an exhausting couple of days. We got ill. We got physically
Yeah,
ill from the heat.
It was not good. Well, see ya.
I'm really tired. Stay chaotic, babes. Wait, Maisie, do you want to say goodbye? Come here. Come here.